Today, I'd like to talk about the labor data. It's unfortunately being overestimated. So the question is this sign of weakness to come for the US stock market, right? So last week, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the US economy employed 818,000 fewer people than initially estimated as of March 2024. Now, this suggesting that the labor market may have been cooling earlier than previously thought. So this marks the largest downwards revision in 15 years, attributed to a recalibration in data collection methods. Okay, so that was the reason given. It's just a way, recalibration of the data collection. They want to say that. So anyway, we know it's common for monthly data to be revised. You have seen non-farm payroll data. It's very rare if you don't see a revision. But such a significant discrepancy is surprising and raises concerns about the true state of the US economy. Okay, it's a real concern. So this adjustments reduces total jobs growth for the 12-month period by 2.9 million to 2.1 million jobs. Now, indicating that growth was overstated by 38%. It's not a small number over here. Nevertheless, you have banks like Goldman Sachs economists have downplayed the impact, suggesting that when accounting for contributions from undocumented immigrants in the labor force, the error might not be as severe as it appears. But the question now here is that, accounting for undocumented immigrants. So when you talk about undocumented immigrants, it's also a guess there, right? So between guessing and then releasing and saying, hey, I am wrong here and I'm wrong by 818,000, this is not a good thing, okay? So nevertheless, this substantial revision could influence the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates. The Fed has previously cited strong employment numbers as a reason to hold off any rate cuts, but this new data challenges that narrative. So at the Jackson Hole meeting on Friday and Saturday last week, Fed Chair Jerome Powell finally hinted at interest rate cuts happening in September, expressing confidence that inflation is on a sustainable path towards 2%. Now, I've said in the past, the Fed is not going to wait for inflation to come down to 2%, because again and again, the Powell has said that they don't need to wait for it to be 2% to cut rates. They just know, they want to be confident that this inflation is on the trajectory towards 2%, they will cut the rates. So right now, the pace and timing of these cuts will depend on incoming economic data, because that's the Fed's, way of doing right now. They want to be very careful. Sometimes just being too careful, then that's not a good thing either. Okay. So as such, CME rate hike probabilities now indicate the 100% chance of a rate cut, with a 67% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut in September. Additionally, the odds favor a further 50 basis point cut in November and another 25 basis point cut in December, suggesting that 3 rate cuts are back on the table for this year. Okay, so this is what we're seeing so far. So the key question right now is whether a soft landing for the economy is realistic given the latest labor data. Now, if you look at the Fed's minute, right, it revealed concerns that further easing in labor market conditions could lead to a serious deterioration. Right now, you overestimate it, okay, but if it continues, that's not a good thing, especially unemployment rising further. Okay, so in such a scenario, that market could undergo a correction. Okay, if we have there's a deterioration, it could undergo a correction. Historical data shows that equities tend to perform well after a Fed cutting cycle unless economy growth is weak. That's the reason why this week's GDP is crucial. We want to look. So if GDP is still fine, growth is good, then not an issue. Whatever you see, that means that, you know, the market, yes, is coming down. That is a correction. It represents a good buying opportunity. The market might not correct that deep before going up. Okay, so that's why have a look at the GDP this week, then we will have a better idea. Okay, so however, statistics also suggest that if the market does enter a recession, okay, if it goes into recession, it could drop another 15% from current levels. This is part of the stats as well. So wait for the GDP to be get a good idea. If it starts dropping, then 50%, another 15% is viable. You know, it's real. It can happen with all losses likely to be recovered within 24 months. So then again, we know that this thing is going to go up eventually again. And within 24 months, whatever it is right now, the price that it dropped from, it will be higher than by then. Okay, so hopefully this clears up some issues pertaining to the jobs market for everyone. With that, that's the report for today. Thank you.